Alright, so I was surfing the Twitterverse and I came across some sad news. It seems Henry Cavill is no longer going to be Superman. And this is, as far as I could tell, a post from Mr. Cavill himself saying that he just had a meeting with James Gunn and Peter Safran, and it's sad news, everyone. I will, after all, not be returning as Superman. After being told by the studio to announce my return back in October, prior to their hire, this news isn't the easiest, but that's life. Now, it seems, unfortunately, that with the whole shakeup at Warner Brothers Discovery and David Zaslav and the appointment of James Gunn and Peter Safran as the co-presidents or whatever, co-leaders of DC Films, that it seems they're going to do a clean slate of the entire DC universe, DCEU. Now, I don't know if that's with the exception of the latest Batman. I know we have the sequel to Aquaman still to come out, and The Flash, and we recently heard that they were no longer going to do Wonder Woman 3, which, after seeing Wonder Woman 2, is quite frankly fine with me. But this right here, I thought was a bit of sad news here. It was nice to see Henry Cavill as Superman and hearing the theme at the end of Black Adam, even though I thought the movie itself wasn't the greatest. In fact, I thought it was quite disappointing as a movie overall. But kind of seeing that cameo at the end just kind of gave the official, okay, we're keeping Henry Cavill as Superman. Well, surprising what happens after 4 or 5 weeks where the studio says, well, that's not going to happen. Now, I'll admit, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Snyderverse. I didn't like Man of Steel. I didn't like Batman vs. Superman. I didn't like the Justice League, even though that was a mess. I still haven't even watched the Snyderverse version of Justice League, simply because I just don't have 4 hours to sit down and watch a movie. I do plan on watching it one day, and who knows, it might be a better movie, but I just never bought into the whole Snyderverse movies. I thought Wonder Woman was okay. Wonder Woman 2 was absolute garbage. Probably the best thing out of the whole thing was Aquaman, if you want to consider that part of the Snyderverse. I did like Ben Affleck as Batman. I thought he did that very well. It was sad to see him go. But overall, I thought the whole DCEU just wasn't very good as a whole entity, if you will. But I thought the casting of Henry Cavill was, for lack of a better term, I thought it was absolutely perfect for the role of Superman. And I'll tell you a funny story. So, back in, I guess, 2010, when they announced Henry Cavill as the new Superman, the first thing that came to my mind was, who the hell is Henry Cavill? I had no idea who he was, what his work was, or where he was from. I knew nothing about him. And so, immediately I just went, well, I don't like it because I didn't know who he was. Well, interestingly, and coincidentally later, I watched a movie called Immortals. And it was some silly movie, dealing right after the movie 300 had come out and everybody was making their copycat versions with a lot of stylized CGI and what have you. And I thought the movie itself wasn't the greatest, but the lead actor in this movie, the whole time I'm looking at him and I'm going, I don't know who this Henry Cavill is, but this guy in this movie looks just like Superman. This guy would play a perfect Superman. And so I told myself, at the end of this movie, I would watch the credits and see the name of this actor that I thought would be a better choice to play Superman. Well, lo and behold, as I watched the credits and, the names of the actors and their roles popped up, and I see for Theseus, the actor's name is Henry Cavill, and I'm like, well, that's some egg on my face. Apparently, every once in a while, Hollywood does actually know what they're doing. So, I'm hoping this is one of those cases where Hollywood has decided to do the right thing. Personally, I guess, like I said, they're doing cleaning the slate, just starting from scratch. From what I could tell from what David Zaslav is doing, being from the Discover channel and all, he's going to start things fresh, start things cheap, probably not make movies for 200 and 300 millions of dollars. He's probably going to go somewhere between the 1 to 150 millions of dollars, do something a little bit more cheap, something with maybe less CGI, practical effects. That's what it's looking like to me. And I have a feeling James Gunn and Peter Safran can probably deliver to some degree on that level. And and it's all about making as much money as possible. We've seen the cost cutting with the different decisions he's made. He's canceled a lot of projects. He canceled the release of Batgirl, and from my understanding, they'll never release it. But that remains to be seen. Everything is tax deductible when you don't release it. I'm sure they could do something down the road if they choose to, if they feel it's going to make some money on their end. But nevertheless, it's a sad day. I was really hoping to see Henry Cavill as Superman again in some form or fashion. It's even more sad that I was enjoying him as The Witcher, and it seems he left the show, which we all presume was for the sake of playing Superman. So now he's out of 2 roles. Or maybe it was just because he wasn't enjoying himself on the Witcher series. But I really enjoyed him on the show. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does next. Anyway, that's it for me. What did you guys think of the time Henry Cavill played as Superman? Did you enjoy it? Did you think he was horrible at it? Do you think he should? Well, obviously he's moving on. Are you happy that the news has come? And what would you like to see from the DCEU? Who do you think would be a good replacement? Currently, I have no idea. My son and I had a discussion, and he had the thought that the Edge would probably be a good idea. And to some weird degree, that could work, but I don't think that's going to happen. But honestly, I have no idea who would be a good Superman replacement. But hopefully these guys do a good job. I sure as hell hope it's not John Cena. Please, no. Please don't let that happen. Anyway, post in the comments below. If you like what I had to say, hit that like button. And if you want to hear more of my ramblings from time to time, you can always subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys next time.